Alright, quick update on Solana. So, more capitulation. We're down 12% today. I saw a lot of people, especially on Twitter, get very excited as Solana went from $35 all the way back up to $49. That was a 40% swing to the upside, and I saw a ton of posts, a ton of people DCAing. I've personally been saying, at least for these kind of market conditions, when Bitcoin is chopping below 34,000, but especially when Bitcoin is, below 29,000, which is the major trend line that we absolutely need to hold on the weekly time frame. While Bitcoin's below this, I wouldn't be trading altcoins at this moment in time. So before we do jump into the analysis, I've been saying this in all my altcoin videos, but I think it's very important that we do look at the Bitcoin dominance, because if the Bitcoin dominance, manages to break out, then altcoins are going to have a major capitulation against Bitcoin. And this is pretty much what we're seeing with Solana. I do want to point out, Solana is breaking macro bearish right now, or at least it is macro bearish at this moment in time, and it could be about to fill, the last nail in the coffin, because we're coming down to your, both of your 786 Fibonacci's. You can see, depending on which one you want to draw for, I've got a 786 all the way up to the top of this wick, and we're also going to encompass the 786 Fibonacci from the candle body close, just to make sure, because you can see we're sitting at the candle body close right now, but we've wicked down to here. These are definitely respected. I always like to draw sometimes from the wicks, sometimes when we have a huge wick, I like to discount the wick and draw it from the candle body close. But you can see this big orange box here. This is your double 786 Fibonacci. Now, what does this mean? Because this is the Sol BTC pair. Well, we're dumping majorly into this. We're having a major trend shift on our momentum indicators like the squeeze bomb. It's completely capitulating to the downside. You've got your volume. Volume is just exponentially increasing as we dump. Volume predicts price. The more we dump and the more the volume keeps on doing stuff like this, then the more we're definitely not safe for reversal. So, Solana versus Bitcoin is unfortunately breaking macro bearish at this moment in time. And if we just capitulate tiny bit further, if we have weekly candle body closes below this region, it's only another 7%. So if you see, by tomorrow Bitcoin's gone down another 1% and Solana's gone down like 8 or 9%, that means that Solana will be below this major region. So definitely keep an eye on this. I will be keeping you updated, especially on the Sol BTC pair, because I'm just seeing a lot of signals right now that the altcoins could potentially get slaughtered. And I've been talking about this on my Twitter, I've been saying this in my Discord, all of my videos. The dollar as well, dollar's been breaking out. I've been saying today altcoins are going to get slaughtered. We've been talking about this for a couple of days. Like, I'm only going to scroll back to the last tweet, but we talked about this 2 days ago, and since then we've just seen major capitulations all over the market. If you do want to follow my Twitter, by the way, it is here at 618_cowboy. So just hopping back over to Sol USD quickly. I mean, I think we normally look at the USD chart, but in my opinion, looking at the Bitcoin pair and looking at the Bitcoin dominance for a lot of these altcoins is going to do wonders, because Bitcoin breaks out. If we do start heading up to these levels that we topped out in 2019, this, even if we break above the 45% on the Bitcoin dominance, this is going to mean that Bitcoin is going to massively outperform altcoins. Whether that means the price of Bitcoin goes up or down, or whether the price of Solana goes up or down, it simply means that if Bitcoin dominance is going up, you're probably better off holding Bitcoin, which is my plan, which is what I've been saying. So Sol USD, same as Sol BTC really. I mean, we've capitulated much harder on the USD pair, mainly because Bitcoin has been capitulating as well. But Sol USD, have we had a weekly close below your 786 Fibonacci? Because if so, we have, yeah. So this entire trend has unfortunately been invalidated for Solana, and as you can see, I mean, this wick down here, we perfectly came down to your 1.618 fib from this last macro impulse, or not really macro impulse, rather it was more of a midterm dead cat bounce. This is really what I want to talk about. Let me clear up this chart for just a second, and I can show you how important this is just on the Fibonacci. So Solana against the USD, major bull run, right? All-time high, we come down, we don't necessarily hold our EMA ribbons the first time, it doesn't always matter that much, but you can see capitulation down to the 786. As long as you're above the 786, the trend is still valid, but while you're below the 618, you're at least breaking somewhat bearish, because you know, below 618 is the most important level. If you're in an uptrend, you hold the 618, you're very bullish. If you break below it, you come down to the 786. That's basically your last line in the sand, which is what I always say. And you can see we pump up, we come up to the 0.5 Fibonacci, which is basically the midpoint, and you break below, you capitulate below your 618 Fibonacci, and you capitulate below your 786 Fibonacci. That is a textbook top, that is a textbook trend reversal, and in my opinion, I do believe Sol has topped out for the cycle, and it is going to go down to lower price targets. That does suck. I am a massive Solana bull. I've been saying this, I'm just looking at the data objectively, and it does not look too good. I mean, I don't need to tell you, we are already breaking below the previous all-time high, and people might be, you know, thinking, you know, what does that matter? But could you imagine if Bitcoin, you come over to Bitcoin, could you imagine if Bitcoin breaks below its previous all-time high at 19,000? Can you imagine Bitcoin going back to 9,000, 10,000? Most of the people who got in Bitcoin in the last 2 years would have lost complete faith. People who have been in for longer and, you know, have read the white paper, read the Bitcoin Standard, done their own research, I imagine those type of people stick around. But you know, it's not good to see these breakdowns. So, you know, technically speaking, 1.618 fib is going to be a big level of support. If you do see a move below $36, this is the unfortunate part. If we come over to the daily, you know, we do not have support because there's not really any days traded. It's just 2 weeks of straight going up after the lows. So Solana could be coming down to $21 or potentially even $19. And that is if we do capitulate and Bitcoin starts closing daily candles and a weekly candle below 29,000. Be very careful. This is coming from a Solana bull. I do like the project in the long term, but I like to look at the data objectively. And when it looks like an ace, you know, I have to call it as an ace. So Bitcoin BTC really about to break a major level. Bitcoin dominance heading up, meaning that if we do have this W breakout, we'll break out the top of this channel, head up to 45 or rather 47% dominance. We could do something like back testing the weekly EMAs before we do head up. This is not going to be a short move, and we can see bounces along the way. You know, I was in the 2017 bear market, and the amount of times myself and other people, that was my first cycle, the amount of time I saw people getting chopped up because you would see, you know, Bitcoin and altcoins move down 60% and then they pump up 40%, kind of like what we saw with Solana today. Everyone gets back in, everyone's super bullish that we had these 40% pumps, and then you see it's the next day, literally the next day, followed with another massive dump. Like you can see here, 22% swing up, followed by a massive capitulation. And we've been seeing this for a while on Solana. You know, even when you're in a massive downtrend, we saw an 85 swing up for Solana, and this caught a lot of people off guard because we completely broke through the 618, which, I mean, normally you come up to the 618 and get rejection. That's a trend reversal. I would have sold if we rejected off the 618, but the fact that we flipped it and we were getting all these bullish signs, it was very deceiving. But what we're seeing now, in my opinion, is very black and white. So you know my trading plan, I'm only picking up Bitcoin. While the Bitcoin dominance is increasing, it only makes sense for me to hold Bitcoin. This is going to be a macro move. We're already in a huge macro downtrend. I don't plan on trying to catch the falling knife on this, so I'm just picking up Bitcoin. And as you can see, it is working out for the past couple of days at least, because all of these altcoins, you know, the last 2 days alone, you know, I said a couple of days ago I sold pretty much all of my Solana, and people were saying, you know, why are you selling it if you believe in it in the long term? But you can see 28% down against Bitcoin, and I've seen this before in the previous bear market. You're better off holding Bitcoin. That is if we're about to break into a bear market. This is just my trading plan. I've always got my long-term bags. I haven't sold everything, and like I said, I've got Solana NFTs. I'm a big fan of the project, but looking at the data objectively, dollar's bullish, stock market's bearish. That's going to mean a bearish crypto market. The Fed keeps on increasing interest rates. We're going to enter a bear market. The Bitcoin dominance is going to keep on breaking up. Altcoins are going to be poorly performing against Bitcoin, and we're already seeing the warning signs. Sol BTC and Sol USD are already capitulating. So that's all I've got for you today. Best of luck. Hope you don't get chopped up in these altcoin markets. Cowboy out. Peace.